When I think about Spain, most of the time think about seafood.
Happiness.
Joy,
I think it's a Spanish king
good food,
nice people, and his wife, Letizia.
Ich denke in erster Linie an Urlaub, weil ich diese Erfahrung schon gemacht habe.
sun, economic crisis,
Ein schönes Land,
Die Mentalität.
viel Sonne,
Eine Siesta haben.
viel deutsche Urlauber.
Die Spanier alle so nett sind, da meistens haben wir uns ein bisschen in Englisch verständigt.
When I was in Mallorca, but that's not really Spain for me. That's more like Germany.
I think my favorite location would be Madrid.
Toledo,
Granada,
Barcelona,
San Sebastian is a wonderful city.
Alicante, Benidorm.
It's very difficult to answer. I have a lot of favorite places. The place I come from.
Dentro de España hay muchísimas ciudades y muchísimos pueblos.
Ja, ich habe wenig Ahnung von der Geschichte Spaniens. Also ich weiß wohl, dass arabische Einflüsse da sind.
Everywhere in Spain has something special.
Tanto puedes ir a España para estar muy relajado en las muchas playas que tiene el país,
Musik, Folklore.
para ver todas las culturas que han pasado por la península o incluso muchísimas cosas modernas, arte moderno.
Dalí-Museum war eindrucksvoll, sehr eindrucksvoll. Waren zweimal.
No solo es el turismo, la playa o Madrid.
Urwüchsig und vor allen Dingen die Musik natürlich. Abends in den Bars, wenn sie und vor allen Dingen diese spanischen Tänze mit den Kastagnetten, das ist natürlich fantastisch.
I plan on going to Spain one day. My mother wants to go with me.
Spain was a country I really wanted to go.
Amigo.
Vamos!
Die Frauen sind hübsch.
Yeah, me encanta España. I think it's
Me gusta,
Me gusta.
amo España. You have a lot of different way of saying I love Spain.
Good evening. I would like to thank you for coming, for showing this interest in Spain. And I would like to thank very specially all the team at the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy, and it's very especially Elvira, who has worked really hard to put this event together. I was very amazed looking at this video because it showed exactly what I want to talk about. If you take together all what was said, the most of the things people said about Spain were positive, even if they are not exactly those whom I would have liked them to say. And this is what I will talk about. Not what Spain only is, but how we Spaniards want you to see us. So what is Spain? Is Spain a defined concept, or is Spain a sort of plural perception, subjective ideas? Can we define it somehow? I think that we can do it, although there are many things that we have to take into account in order to have an idea of what Spain specifically is. When I think of it, many things come to my mind. One, of course, is geography, then the language, our culture, our history. My Spain, for example, is a Spain from the north, a green Spain from a Celtic background, very different from the idea of sunny beaches in Andalusia, Mallorca, or the Canary Islands that most of our visitors have. But I think even if it is difficult to synthesize, we can do it. You must forgive me always, because you will always leave something behind. There will always be someone who said, yes, but you did not mention this aspect that I like better, or you did not mention my hometown as one of the beautiful cities of Spain. There is, of course, the folkloric image, as I call it. Many of the people asked have responded with things like this: the beach, the sun, the food, paella, the castañetas, flamenco. I remember a song by an Irish band called The Pogues, which I liked a lot. It was called Fiesta, and it was a very funny song telling about their influence, the holidays in Almeria, in Spain. It's a great song to dance, especially when you are already in the second or third beer, I can tell you. So what image do you have? This is what you must reflect about. How do I see Spain? And then I ask myself, what image do I want you to have? And this is the main topic today, branding Spain, telling you how the Spanish government or the Spanish system, the Spanish structure wants you to see us. This is what I want to talk about. So let's try to make this exercise. Spain is very diverse, but is clearly identified. While very diverse, I mean in all senses. You take the geography and you have very different landscapes from the green north to the south of Spain. We have many mountains. What people do not know is that you can, for example, ski in the south of Spain while you look at the Mediterranean down there. We have very clear borders, people think, but it's not that clear. In the north, the Pyrenees certainly are a barrier, but there have been, both on the east and the west, many times where we have exchanged territories with France. So part of what is France today was part of Spain in our history. And we also have the clear identity of Portugal, although the border with Portugal, what we call La Raya, the line, today is only that. It's just a line. People live, work, have fun on both sides of the border. But we have had even several wars with Portugal in order to define what is the border today. And then we cannot forget that there is Spain beyond the peninsula. We have Mallorca, which of course for many Germans is just another land, but we think it still is part of Spain. And we have the Canary Islands, and even some enclaves in Africa that are very curious to speak about, Ceuta, Melilla, and some tiny islands around there in the Mediterranean. So we have a geographical clear concept of what is Spain. What about our history? Are we a pure nation? I think we're not. We are certainly a mixture of all the peoples who have invaded us. I don't know what we can still keep from the first inhabitants of Spain, the Iberians, because we had contacts with the Phoenicians, then we were invaded by the Romans, then came the Goths from the north. This is why in many parts of Spain you find many people with blonde hair and also red-haired. And then we were invaded by the Arabs. Some of them told it also in the video. We have a strong Arab influence. The Arabs stayed in Spain for nearly 8 centuries with different degrees of influence. At the very beginning, they nearly completed the invasion of the whole territory. But at the very end, they were only small islands of kingdoms, of Arab kingdoms, which we call the kingdom of the Taifas. And then came a very important moment in our history, the reunification of Spain with the Catholic kings, the Queen and the King Isabel and Fernando. They gave Spain the unity that it is today. And this unity that we have still conserved has projected itself beyond our borders. On one side to Europe, because in the great times of the Spanish Empire, Spain dominated great part of Europe. And we also colonized America, and parts of America were Spanish until the very end of the 19th century. And we finally must think of the Mediterranean, where we have also been an influential force. And what about our culture? Some of you will maybe be learning Spanish through our Instituto Cervantes, that is our main ambassador for our language, because the Spanish language is one of the main pillars of our identity. And I must say, religion, Catholicism, has played a very strong role in defining what we are. Even if most of the Spaniards today are not very devout Catholics, the most part of the population still follows this religion. And then we have other elements. Music has been mentioned, arts, someone talked about Dalí. Many about gastronomy, seafood. This is also an element of our identity. So what is present Spain then? Well, we have a clearly identified territory, a more or less defined culture that in itself is very diverse. I spoke of Spanish, but there are other languages spoken in the territory. And we have a political system that is very old-fashioned. We have a monarchy. Many people would say, but this is not democratic. I say, well, some of the most stable democracies in Europe are monarchies. And our decision to have a monarchy was transcendental in our history, This was 1978 when Spaniards voted the constitution that is still in Spain effective. And we decided to give us a democracy, a monarchy, and a very specific territorial system that is very close to a federal state, but is not yet federal. We can discuss about this too, if you're interested. Then there is another important date in our recent history, that is 1986. This is when we joined the European Union. Because after joining the European Union, our economy lived a very, very important boost, and we lived maybe the most hectic years of growth, development, and prosperity in Spain since we joined the Union. This is why Spaniards are very well known for having a very strong European spirit. And of course, we have 2010, when we became world champions for the first time. By then, the crisis had already hit us hard. One of the persons, curiously, one of the Spanish people who were interviewed, said as a defining element of Spain, the economic crisis. Well, the whole world lived this crisis, so why does she punctually say Spain? Because we had a crisis of our own. Not only the financial institutional crisis, but we have also another one that we had built ourselves, a sort of real estate bubble that exploded at the same time as the international financial crisis. So we have been working very hard in order to get our economy back together, to adopt new reforms in order to become again competitive and be again leaders in some of our traditionally good areas. We have a very bad problem of unemployment, and this derives also from a problem in our qualification and educational policies. We have in Spain very qualified university degrees, but then we have many people who, during the good years of the, what we say in Spain, the thick cows, this means when there was good money, they abandoned their studies and the qualification, their professional training, in order to join the construction or the tourism sectors. And today, after the crisis, they do not have any assets to show in the labor market. This is one of the main problems in Spain today. What we intend as a government, because I'm representing a government today, is to come out of the crisis stronger as we were. And what do we do in order to reach this objective? Of course, we are trying to transform the structures of our economy, but we also want to become attractive again, that nobody speaks of crisis when it comes to Spain. And this we only reach when we are able to spread our message. How do we spread our message? Through nation branding. So why does nation branding exist? It exists certainly because the government needs to do better, needs to be more competitive than others. It needs to build up a good image, because a good reputation will help our exports, will help our competition. We need to tell our story. For example, Germany in 26 celebrated a World Cup, and that was 2006. And they created also a nation branding strategy. It was called Germany, Land of Ideas. What they wanted was to abandon the idea of this dull engineer, very efficient German worker who only ate beer and Wurst, and show a nation that was living with dynamism, with pride, in the streets, the celebration of the World Cup. I remember the images of Germany partying together multiculturally in this event, and this was the aim, to show that Germany was other than what people thought. At the very end, they became world champions this year, 2014, showing exactly what the branding is. A team that showed that they are reliable, strong, competitive. When we became world champions in 2010, it was curiously also showing the values that we want to show. That was, we were creative, we showed qualities for teamwork, and we learned endurance. So Spain wants to show the achievements of our people, of our economic actors, of our economy. not only our resources. Of course, sun, beaches, bring good money, but it is not that we only want to show. We want to transform the old traditional sectors of our economy in new forces. For example, by promoting cultural tourism more than this sun and beach tourism. Also, to promote gastronomy in a more sophisticated way than the delicious paella. This means we want to show the world that we are renovated and that we are more sophisticated than they thought. And we want to show what we are capable of, putting together information about our leading sectors, because people would not think that Spanish business, that Spanish firms are leaders in sectors like engineering, technology, transport, renewable energies, all sectors that have a very strong added value. People would always think that we are in this siesta, fiesta, partying together all the time, and not that we are hard workers, what we really are. And what has the government to do with all this thing? Because it is certainly not the government that produces renewable energy or does the engineering. The government tries to accompany this effort, to show the way. It has built up an office in order to gather the information that we need, prepare the message, and develop strategies to spread it out. This is what our national branding is. It is called Marca España, and it is a very small office in the Ministry for Foreign Affairs that does this job. Prepare the information, help to spread it out. And who must spread it out? Of course, the embassies. Of course, the economic actors. Of course, Rafael Nadal. But of course, every Spaniard who, when he talks to other people, speaks about the country and shows what we are capable of. Every Spaniard is an ambassador of our national branding, of Marca España. Marca España, it's all of us, and this is what we have to learn. And what does the embassy do in all this procedure? We are the representation of the government in Berlin. So somehow, national branding is a daily job. We do it every day. I'm here today. This is for us part of our strategy of nation branding. We work with the German authorities in order to spread the message, to provide the right information, what we have achieved, what reforms we have undergone, what objectives we have. We speak to the media. We try to deliver the right message, to ask them, tell us what you need. We will provide the information. Show the different views of Spain. If you want to do a job on the crisis as a journalist, do not talk only to the people on the street. Talk also to the other people. We want that the message is a complete message and that this shows the whole reality. And this we do by working with the media as an embassy here in Germany. And we also do cultural policy in order to reach out, to get to all the Germans, not only those who have already spent their holidays in Spain, like you heard from some of the people in the video. Not only those who speak Spanish or have a Spanish connection. We want to reach all of them, so that every one of the Germans can have an idea, a positive idea, if we are able to do our job right about Spain. We have several means to do it. One of them I mentioned already, Instituto Cervantes, that is where people go and learn Spain and also learn about Spanish culture. But we have many others. And specifically, I want to talk about a project that I'm very devoted to, that is that our embassy premises, the building, becomes an actor of our nation branding. You'd say, how can a building become an actor if it's just a building? Well, usually if you have the idea of an embassy, you think of a security, of maybe people like me working in an office, but you never visited an embassy. Maybe most of you have never been there, or only in the consular section to ask for a visa. So what we want is that people in Berlin know the embassy, know that it is there, that it is an historic building, and what we have done is develop a cultural area, cultural space, with an auditorium where we show films, documentaries, and an exhibition area. And this is open to the public every day, Monday to Friday. So everybody can go, visit the embassy, and learn about it and see some Spanish culture. We are trying that even the building that cannot move, that is already there and will stay there, becomes an actor of our policies. So if we manage to get the building involved, now we should manage to get all of the Spaniards. There are some of you in the audience. I want you to be conscious of the role you have as an ambassador of Spain. I want you to think about what is Spain to me. And paraphrasing Kennedy, it's not just that what can I do for Spain, what does Spain for me, but how do I want others to see Spain? How do I work to help create this positive image of my country? Because at the very end, this will help build up our reputation, and this will help boost our economy, create jobs, and be more prosperous and happy. That is another word that was said. We are happy people. Let's go on, work hard, continue to be happy. Thank you.